Welcome back to 10 by 10 Declutter Challenge Project 6 Gone Appetit, which is about clearing our fridges or pantries or anywhere that we store food. I have yet to meet the person who jumps out of bed in the morning supercharged by a plan to clean out their fridge or pantry. Not only can it be kind of slimy, smelly, and highly physical, but exposing ourselves to the evidence of food spoilage, dietary indulgences, and more can activate all kinds of feelings about our relationship with food that we'd much prefer to hide under a pile of cookies. This is why spoilage is contagious in fridges or pantries or anywhere else. When the shame of a perceived food failure takes hold in one place, it's easier to order takeout, to avoid it, neglecting any still fresh items for longer and longer, which then spoil too. So at some point, you'll either have to set your whole fridge on fire or clean it. So with so much love and being held by a supportive community, let's rip the Band-Aid off together. The whole point of this challenge is to take an onerous task and pair it with intention and consciousness to reframe it as an act of self-care. So though I can't change the physical challenges of this project, when we change our minds, we can change everything about doing it. So as always, we start with intention and process through that filter. And the reason that's different is that when we process our refrigerator or pantry through some of the subconscious or very painful messages, even if they're conscious, that we've had since childhood about waste and spoilage and not good enough, maybe things about our weight, it's very, very painful. And the process of weighing it against that filter versus one where we do it with love for ourselves, with intention, with consciousness, with presence, and support for our feelings changes everything about the process. So in this video, I will briefly describe the simplest method for the physical work of cleaning and decluttering your fridge, according to me, which is the only source I have, but I have done it many, many times. And then finally, I will share tips for how to restock your food storage with intention and love for yourself. So let's get going. Step 1 is set your intention. Today's prompt is, how do you want to feel about the food that you keep in your house? The mythology of food is so ubiquitous and tied to who we are culturally that it can be difficult to grasp the concept that all food, whole and raw, highly processed, fresh, spoiled, from a farmer's market and locally grown, from a foreign land and frozen, is all neutral. It's not inherently good or bad. We get to decide how we want to feel and then select the foods that match that feeling for us. So some examples that you might write about or write down when you decide how you want to feel are healthy, strong, energized, cared for, powerful, loved, comforted, cheerful, creative, inspired, responsible, easy, relaxed. You could choose any of these words. You could choose all of these words. You could completely make up your own. It's all about how you want to feel around food. After you do that, choose a combination of 3 to 5 of the words that you've written down that you feel best represents you and your attitude about food or your intention for your attitude about food, and write those down. And then you will weigh your food in your refrigerator or pantry against everything in your fridge. But I don't want to put too much pressure on you on this step to get it just right. Creating intention is as much about bringing consciousness to the act of connecting with ourselves as it is the words we write. In fact, it's probably more so about that act. So even when you can't articulate the words just right, your body will tell you intuitively what foods feel good to you. And you are best able to listen and tap into that intuition when you have made a conscious choice to say that you're listening, to be intentional, and let your body know that you're online and available to hear what it has to say. So at this point, you want to take your before pick. It's just for you unless you want to share it. And I'll see you in step 2. Step 2 of this project is where you prep your area and your tools, and you decide what the scope of this project is going to be for you. Are you going to choose your pantry? Are you going to choose your fridge? Are you going to do your freezer? So you just simply decide. Then you want to narrow it down. Do you want to do your whole fridge? Do you want to do just the condiments or just one shelf of your fridge? You get to decide. Though ultimately you're the best judge of your ability to handle the volume of whatever's in your fridge or pantry right now, I personally like to take the fridge one shelf at a time. Not only does this minimize spoilage in warmer, wet air for the items that you definitely want to keep, it's also just a lot easier for your mind to see and sort through what you have if it's a smaller volume. And physically, it's a lot less taxing to wipe down only one shelf. Time-wise, it keeps you from feeling like you have to do the whole thing before you can return to the rest of your life, even if you're planning to do the whole refrigerator before stopping. As for prep, I like to have some basic cleaning supplies ready, just a clean cloth and some all-purpose solution. Or I fill one side of my sink with hot soapy water so that I can toss things in to soak and defunk as I go, shelves or containers I've emptied. And I can also dip my washcloth in there to wipe down shelves as I go. And the last thing is make sure you have a staging area where you can put your items. This would be a shelf or a clear countertop where you can sort and see everything that you get out of the refrigerator. Now onward to step 3. Step 3 is where we declutter and process everything in the space that we've decided, item by item. So the first step is to take everything out. And again, if you've only decided to work on one shelf of your fridge at a time, this means take everything off of that shelf, not the entire refrigerator, to minimize your stress and anxiety about this project. Once everything's out, you want to lay it out in your staging area so that you can see everything. And then you want to wipe down your shelf space first so that as soon as you make a decision about food, you can put it right back in the refrigerator. If you're keeping it, that is. The next step, once you've got your shelf wiped down, you're ready to go with the processing, you're going to want to throw away any obvious trash. This is anything expired, anything looking science-y or smelling science-y, growing mold, just giving you the side eye. This stuff needs to go. You don't need to weigh it against your intention unless your intention is to feel sick when you're eating. The next step is all of the remaining items. So assuming you've gotten rid of all the trash and all of the funky gunk, you just want to ask yourself, does this match my intention for how I want to feel when I eat or when I'm around this food? If yes, make sure to wipe down the bottle or container as needed and then put it back in the fridge. If no, but you want to keep it anyway, just ask yourself why and sit with that for a second and see if you like your reason. If you do like your reason, keep it. If you don't like your reason, but you can't pitch it for sure just yet, don't let it stop you. Just put it back in the fridge, keep going, and bring your question to coaching. After you did this, you're done with the shelf or space, and then you repeat for each shelf or space in your entire refrigerator. Now, in this step, we're not really getting into the organizing or the beautification of it. We're simply trying to declutter and clean out. So don't forget to take your after picture. This is really important at this stage. This helps you compare to your before picture and see how far you've come and celebrate yourself. And be sure to post in the WhatsApp that you've completed it, whether you want to post your picture or not, so that we can all celebrate you too. Now onward to the final step. In the last part of this video, we are going to talk about tips for restocking your food storage with intention and love. So you've probably heard this tip before, but it bears repeating. Don't shop for anything, not just food, when you are hungry, tired, or otherwise disconnected from yourself. You are not going to make the best choices that serve you when you are so disconnected. So if you're already hungry and there are no good options in your fridge or pantry, decide to purchase the smallest quantity of food possible to meet your needs and get yourself emotionally regulated so that you can go ahead and restock from a more regulated, more conscious place. Another idea is to use a grocery app such as Kroger, Walmart Plus. I know there are lots of other ones here in Texas and in Nacogdoches specifically. Those are our options, but you can use those to do a pickup or a delivery and reorder staples that you know already fit your intention and goals. So you can automate those decisions that you've already consciously made. It saves time and it also saves money because you avoid impulse buys. Another thing you can do is try a meal planning app or a meal delivery kit. We all know that meal planning is a great way to reduce food waste and know in advance what you want. But sometimes it's just very exhausting with all the other things that we have to do in life. So I like a meal delivery kit, but I know many people that have enjoyed meal planning apps that help you reduce waste and help you prepare homemade meals that match your intention without decision fatigue. Another idea is to wash and prep in bulk right after you go shopping to make produce more accessible when hunger strikes. I do this to also save time with dinner prep, and so that I know that any produce that goes into my refrigerator has already been washed. I know that my kids don't have to wash it before they eat it. It's ready to go. There's no worry about contaminants going in my refrigerator. It's kind of like taking your shoes off when you get in the door. It just is one more step that removes contaminants from a place so that it doesn't get dirty. Another thing you can do is store food at the optimal temperature to minimize spoilage. Now, that particular thing is out of the scope of this project, but in the project document, I have included a link from Whole Foods Market that tells you the optimal place in your refrigerator to store each thing, such as dairy, meats, produce, and so forth. The last thing that I want to mention is that organizing by type or in bins and in carousels really is uplifting, as you've no doubt seen from any Instagram or other social posts where people have done a beautiful reorganization and they've put everything in matching canisters and containers. That is possible for you, but I don't want you to let that finished Instagrammable goal stop you from having a good enough or a much better refrigerator. But when you are ready to move on to this level, decanting, removing bulking packaging and labels is a wonderful way to make your food more intentional and more appealing and accessible, because we eat with our eyes as well as our stomachs. So thanks so much for watching this video, and I will see you tomorrow for Project 7. Bye.